How did hippies go from this
You can end the war. Not another time for this war. Stand up and do your constitutional duty.
to this?
Transforms DNA, my mind's making things move. Whoa. Kidney infection, I healed that too.
I mean, curing kidney infections with vibes? I don't think that's something my doctor would prescribe. It seems like every hippie now is just an exodia of every different culture they can, looking to obliterate some white suburban mom's wallet.
Exodia! Obliterate!
And once they're done milking Karens of all the money, or they get bored of sitting in pyramids selling you 15 different cultures from across the world, or telling you about the alien race that they're related to, they'll move on. I don't think these new age hippies really are about the anti-war, anti-imperialism that old age hippies were. It seems like they've just taken the bad aspects of the old hippie movement and made that the new front of this hippie movement. Most old hippies just became progressives or leftist, and a lot of those ideas of anti-war and anti-imperialism became normative. They weren't just hippie things. The summer of love became kind of a thing that we all just believe, at least if you aren't conservative, which is actually what's interesting. These people are espousing anti-intellectualism, anti-science ideas, not necessarily unity, but let me wear your culture to make money off of it. Truly the definition of appropriation. We're going to talk about appropriation a lot throughout this video, and that's why I suggest you watch any of these different creators to get a better understanding and understand why it's an issue in a lot of circumstances. Not always is it appropriation, but a lot of times it is, and especially when it comes to these hippie TikTok influencers. Okay, first on my list is a TikToker named Shannon Blake. She's known for rapping and taking pretty much every culture she can and infusing it into her lyrics. Sometimes those are alien cultures.
So from the Pleiades, Lauren is the race. See, I came to this earth to bring love, light, and healing.
Oh, all right, wait a second. She comes from Pleiades and Lauren is the race? Oh. Okay, I'm not gonna actually jump on and call her a white supremacist, but I had to find out what a Lyran is at least. I think Pleiades is some white supremacy thing, but I don't think this lady is like a new age skinhead or trying to dupe people. I think maybe she means a different definition. Let's see what Reddit has to say about this. Lyrans are the root humanoid race of our galaxy who assisted in seeding Avalon, Ivon, Agoria, and even Earth. One mind-blowing finding the galactic historians have uncovered is that we all contain Lyran DNA, resulting in not being able to find the missing link with humans and primates. Okay, you know what? This sounds like the plot to Prometheus. You know, the beginning of that movie, the alien one, the prequel. So maybe it's not white supremacy, it's just too much ancient aliens.
If today we're able to create a two-headed dog with 6 legs, is it possible that a similar creature existed thousands of years ago? And I say yes.
And the only reason this is actually even an issue is because this is textbook appropriation. She takes other cultures, minus the aliens, and then makes them her own. She's injecting whiteness. She is a girl from Utah who lives in Lake Tahoe in a $1 million home, trying to claim to be a part of these cultures. She's benefiting off cultures that are not hers. She doesn't face any of the hardships that these marginalized communities have. Here's a TikTok from a Hawaiian girl who explains it much better than I ever can.
Give something back. Put some ho'o to make it pono, you know?
Okay, Shannon, baby girl, you up? If you or Auntie Diane Forster would like to come in and put these creator funds that you guys are accruing based on Hawaiian practices to good use, if you actually want to practice what you're preaching, now's your time to shine. Feel free to make a donation to Lahaina Maui right now. If you can take so freely from our culture, you can give freely too.
Hawaiian appropriation has actually gotten so bad by a lot of these hippies that Lily here, who I mentioned earlier in the video as someone who talks about this a lot, is kind of just over it.
I know some of you guys like to tag me and other Native Hawaiian content creator under videos like this of like these white chicks doing their ho'oponopono, forgive me, thank you, love you, whatever. We've made videos about these. We've talked about these things. They're just gonna keep doing it. They're gonna, you know, keep thinking like, I am so in touch with my inner spirit. Ho'oponopono, mahalo nui loa, banging the Native American drums and whatever. Like, they're just gonna keep doing it. At this point, I really don't care anymore. Just let them, you know, they don't have anything interesting to pull from their own cultures or, you know, their own languages. So they just want to use ours because it sounds cool, I guess.
Lily's not wrong here. Most Native people I know have given up on calling out appropriation because it's impossible to do so when you get TikToks like this.
That you hate Don't faze me, nothing that you say it could ever faze me, cause I've been stacking millions feeding my whole family.
Like, how do you get through to someone like that? Someone who claims that everyone who calls them out on a very real issue is just a hater. You see, cultural appropriation is like putting on a costume, getting all the benefits from wearing that costume, and then taking it off at the end of the night. And you know what's actually insane? A lot of these TikTok hippies, when called out, will instantly go into defense mode. Instead of learning or trying to accept these cultures, they try to claim them as their own. They try to erase the culture that they took from.
Black people wearing locks is not culture appropriation because every culture has worn it.
I know, we've all heard it. The Vikings had locks. European natives had locks. And that's just not true. There is no evidence that shows that we ever had locks. And don't take my word for it. You should watch this video by Snappy Dragon, all about the different hairstyles of Europeans.
The idea that ancient Celtic peoples had locks or mats is often traced back to a supposed quote from a supposed Roman source, note my repeated use of the word supposed, that says they had hair like snakes. However, there does not appear to be any solid source for this quote. We can't find who said it, or when, or in what context it was written down. It does not appear in the primary sources we do have about the Romans' interactions with the Gauls, or Britons, or any other Celtic peoples. This is not a source that can be relied on.
Europeans had really interesting hairstyles, and a lot of them would definitely work with this hippie aesthetic you're going to. You don't need to keep saying that white people had dreadlocks when there's no evidence to support that. I beg you. Please don't be like this lady. I think her name was something Trump, not because of the president. I actually don't know why her name was that, but she's no longer on TikTok, and for good reason.
Of course, it's always the black women with weaves who want to hate on my beautiful, free-form, curly dreadlocks. It's like, no. Bye, Shaquandra.
She keeps going. Hold on.
So I made a video about how much hatred I get about my beautiful locks. And of course, the response to that video was a bunch of hatred towards my beautiful locks. So you're proving my point, y'all. Thanks.
Hear me out. Maybe it's because you were racist in that video. But once again, it gets worse.
All right, so funny thing, I didn't go and get this hair. It grew out of my head. I know a lot of women spend a lot of money braiding their hair, locking their hair, doing all the maintenance, whatever. I don't have to do that. I have perfect curls.
Come on with the texturism. We love it. You know black people also have free forms. I also don't pay money for my hair, but to say you have the perfect curls. Hey, but she's not taking my job, so don't worry. You will be dealt with.
And she wasn't wrong. This girl got banned after posting a ton of these extremely racist and doubling down TikToks. I mean, look at this. It just gets worse.
I've dated black men. I've dated white men. I've dated Indian men.
So, if y'all go on her page, y'all will see that this lady just says a whole bunch of racist, weird shit. She's obsessed, clearly. She's like calling black women Shaquandra and saying that we're jealous of her hair. But for all my black queens that's under her stuff entertaining her, right? Understand this, baby. She ain't inspired by us. We don't know who she's inspired by. I don't know what that hair is. I don't know what she's doing, who she thought she was. Calling us black women Shaquandra, which I think is a beautiful name, versus Kate. That 4-letter name, Kate. Then you turn around and talk about how many different ethnicities you've slept with. Honey, close the gate. All them different men and you still ain't got no man?
Listen, there is so many of these people out there trying to erase very real culture that's not theirs, and they try to claim it is. And that's about all I'm going to talk about appropriation in this video. Because like I said at the beginning of the video, there's so much more to these TikTok hippies. Since when did it become like a normal thing to be anti-science? Listen, I understand that at the hippie movement, there was aspects of anti-intellectualism and anti-science, but a lot of hippies were still going to college and still looking to become educated. A lot of them were vaccinated. This was a pretty new age trend, and I think that coincides with one of our favorite people in America. God damn, he's the best president we have ever had. Just kidding. I could make 1,000 videos on how Ronald Reagan doomed America, but let's start with his connection to what happened recently. You see, the real reason I think that people fall into this and maybe become anti-vax or whatever is the distrust for the government, and they have a good reason to. The government has never made a good step since Vietnam. We have constantly invaded places or bombed places that we shouldn't be under lies. And unfortunately, our healthcare system is directly tied to that. And that's why if I want healthcare, I go to this lady.
This is going to be a full system clearing and upgrade, allowing you to anchor stronger frequencies, more of your consciousness in the body, holding more light in the body. Kurakati ishoro koyara katra ish katra niri kitra uko kia yira shiro koiraka yira sroko yish katra yiro koyishki kitaraya saraka. Clearing.
All right, if that's what it takes to heal people, there's no way I have cancer. I've watched like every season of Naruto. But really, I think the reason that people have fallen for this government is healthcare thing is directly related to the pandemic that we just went through. I think that people think because the government put a bunch of money into private corporations that somehow the government is poisoning us. Listen, I don't understand, and maybe I won't understand because I'm not somebody to discount science. I value it. I don't actually think most of these people buy their own stuff. I think that most of these influencers who make it are actually just trying to sell you something. If not themselves, in the case of Shannon or the other TikTok hippies, they're trying to sell you some money manifestation thing. And man, I see this everywhere.
I'm going to hypnotize you to manifest money so fast that you'll make Jeff Bezos wonder if he needs a side hustle. Now I want you to imagine or picture or just pretend, get a sense that you are holding a large amount of cash in your hands. You can feel the weight of it. You can touch it. You can smell it. You can get a sense of this money that is yours.
This just feels like Gary Vee for liberals.
Who do you love the most in the world?
My family.
Every day, like literally once a day, genuinely sit there for 5 minutes and pretend one of them got shot in the face.
Like, I don't understand how anybody can fall prey to this. I mean, there's an entire YouTube channel from this girl named Sky. And listen, I think her content's well edited and great, and I like her commentary, but I think she gets scammed more than almost anybody I've ever seen.
During the pandemic, I was guided, I believe deeply by my ancestors, to walk in the section that we are now in. And as I was walking, I came across the entryway, which is the reception area, and it looked very similar to this. This is actually very much of the Lemurian codes and the colors. And I'm a mermaid at heart.
So you're probably thinking, how is that a scam? Well, let me just show you the lady's website here. Yep, Laura Fredrickson. She went to Bali apparently and has ancestors there. I mean, listen, I'm not one to judge someone by the way they look, but I would argue she probably doesn't have ancestors in Bali. Listen, I don't want to be like a bigot, but she's from San Francisco and she was a very wealthy stock trader. She looks like a regular white suburban mom. I'm not one to say that there's no way she's related to someone from Bali, but I just doubt it. And when she claims to have lost all her money in stocks in the early 2000s, how did she have enough money to buy this facility or the stones? I guess manifest more money. It's preying on those who are maybe visiting on vacation. I actually don't know who the target demographic is. And listen, this isn't the first time Sky has gone to these things under the guise of, I guess, journalism or asking questions. And the unfortunate reality is Sky kind of believes it herself. She sells things like this and gives into it. I don't necessarily think she's an evil person, but she's definitely not doing any favors. Let's look at one video in particular. She went to this Egyptian ceremony, and at the end she asked some questions, and these people just hand waved it away. And Sky seemed to not really care or push back.
Because these are ancient Egyptian magic practices, how do you address the conversation or criticism around potential cultural? Well, you know, it could be interpreted that way with all the symbols and the ritual wear, etc. So there are like elements being utilized. So how would you address that?
What's cool is these technologies that we're utilizing, the majority of them are original, divined from the board. The board is original, teaching us through the divinatory method what to do. And even the board came from a dream. And as far as the tools and the symbols that are pre-existing date so far back, you'll have millions of ancestors. There's a piece of acknowledging the thread of these ancestors connect in with our own webs, and as well as a commitment to learning our own bloodline.
I wish I had a Ouija board that just told me, hey, it's okay. Just scam these people out of their money. Tell them that you'll heal them, that you'll be more in tune. I think people should just go to therapy instead of this. The main lady that runs this actually got asked at the end by Sky kind of what's going on or the ethics. And this was her answer.
I'm wondering what you might say to someone watching this who thinks that you're just making all of this up and this is all kind of just a figment of the imagination.
Fine, basically. And even if it is a figment of the imagination, awesome. It means it's a very active imagination.
My imaginary friends never scammed me out of money. My imagination was not something that I told people was real or sold them as real. And that's what these people are doing. And they're not alone. And if you think Sky going to all these things and constantly getting scammed is asking these questions because she has any intention of exposing them or making you think twice, you're probably wrong. This is what she had to say at the end of this video, and it's pretty much the same every video.
I've realized that it's the journey of self-discovery that happens through the pursuit of seeking answers that is more fulfilling to me than needing to know the answers themselves. I was deeply impacted by my time with ISIS and have been inspired to live with more intentionality, incorporating small moments of sacred ceremony and prayer into my daily life.
To be honest, I don't think Sky is evil or Shannon or the girl that has clip-in locks and parades around on TikTok to Bob Marley songs. The one lady that does have locks and then called every black lady Shaniqua, yeah, she's probably evil, so fuck her. I think these are just people who are scammers, good old-fashioned scammers. And Sky even less so than others. I think she's somebody who is really wanting to find something, and instead of trusting therapy or institutions, which maybe have wronged her, she would rather go to these and share that with others. Anyways, let me know what you think in the comments or come by my Twitch stream. I'm live every day at 7 p.m. PST, and I'll upload weekly. So subscribe. Thanks. Bye-bye.